Welcome back everyone. Today I'm building my own bike, a dream bike from the late 90s. It's been a long time coming. Today's the day. So this is it. This is an Airborne Lucky Strike titanium hardtail frame from 97, 98. Bit of a dream bike for me, a titanium hardtail mountain bike. So when I was mountain biking in the 90s, I had nice Cannondales. I had some really nice bikes, to be honest. But I've never had a titanium frame, and I've always wanted one. So I picked this up, and I picked up a full set of bits and pieces for it, which is what this video is going to be. Building up an absolute monster of a hardtail mountain bike from the 90s. Very, very different from today's modern mountain bikes, and you'll see that along the way. Back in the day, this would have been an absolute dream machine. To be honest, it still is a dream machine for me, and probably a lot of people watching this, so I hope you enjoy it. And without further ado, let's get a seat post fitted to this, and let's get it built up. So there will be a big focus on keeping this weight down. So on this one, we've got a Thompson Elite seat post, 27.2. It's quite long actually, so potentially I might be able to chop some of this off. I save a few more grams, because yeah, I'm going to be that desperate. Let's get some grease on here and get it in here. Grease, anti-seize, just for goodness sake, use something. Perfect fit. You won't see many torque settings on this bike. This is way before they started writing numbers all over your bike to tell you how not to ruin things, so common sense on this one. 6 Newton meters. And with that in, we can get it now finally clamped into the seat post. And let the fun begin. Show you some details on this. This is the bottle cage boss. Welded on, guys. No rivnets on this. Taking these bolts out, because guess what? Got some titanium ones to go in. Every gram counts. Got some braze-ons here on this mono stay seat stay. Very similar to the Curve frame, if you're aware of those ones. Very similar design. 17 grams. No way. That's not happening. 10 grams, so we saved 7 grams. Money well spent, that is. Let's get these in. Beautiful. You get some grease on these as well, obviously. Grease, anti-seize, whatever you've got. Get it in there. You laugh, but back in the 90s, honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I was all over the Weight Weenie stuff. Every gram counts. The world's gone away from that now. People want reliability and strength. That's for sure, and I totally get that, I'll be honest with you, but I also like having a very light mountain bike. Today's bikes, people have gone the other way, they want a bit more weight. I get it. This is my bike, my rules. These are the original stickers all over this bike. Actually in really, really good condition, as is the whole frame, to be honest. It's pretty much immaculate. Beautiful thing about titanium is you can just polish out any scratches you've got with a bit of Scotch pad. And it looks as good as new. I'll find a couple of marks on here somewhere and show you. It's just like an eraser, you just rub it out. There's no lacquer on this, this is just raw tie. Look at that, it already looks better. Might even put a bottle cage on there later, I'll show you. So they're in, that was a big job. Every little counts. Alright, just keep telling yourself that, guys. We're going to target. What's next? Headset. We're not going very far without one of them. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like nice things, but I am not spending £200 on a headset. So what have I got? Chris King. Or do I? This is from AliExpress. This is a fake Chris King. I think the only difference, obviously, between the quality of the bearings is you get 3 Kings instead of 4. However, this is £16 versus best part of £200. And how much work does a headset do, guys? It does this. That's it. One area I would highly recommend you don't blow £200 is on a headset. That's what I didn't. Don't worry. Everything else is top of the range. And it's going to look the part. Let's get some grease in here and we'll get that pressed in. And about there, I think. Right, she's going in. We're committed. What's that in? I mean, if I didn't tell you that was a fake one, how many people would know? That's kind of the idea. Right, see these little marks here? I'll show you what you can do. We need some red Scotch pad here, and you just basically rub it. You'll see basically a grain on the frame, which is going that way. So you just rub against that. It basically just rubs the marks straight away. Gone. Any deep scratches, you're not going to get them out, but any just basically cable sort of scuffs, they will be gone. So once your headset's in, obviously you need a fork. So what are we using for that? I'm using a RockShox. This is a SID SL, some titanium bolts, etc. This is the lightest fork they made back then, I believe. Again, 97, 98. I'm not going to service this fork. I may do it later on. It's actually in pretty good condition. There was some paint I've touched up. It's actually done a pretty good job. And I do have some brand new stickers for this, but there's no point putting them on unless I'm going to actually respray these legs. It does actually work, but again, may service this at a later date. But for today, she's just getting fitted. I'll just show you the weight of this, just a matter of interest. 1173 grams, so pretty lightweight. You get a massive 63 millimeters of travel. That's just what we had back in the day, guys. Need to fit this crown race first. It is a split race, so that's easy. Bit of grease on here. It's an aluminium steerer as well. We were obsessed back in the day, guys. We really were. Drop that on. That's not difficult. Split races, so easy. Drop the lower bearing in. I will grease all this. I'm just going for a dry fit first. That in there. That in there. And this one in here. It's pretty much going to hold itself together now because of the O-ring in here. So before we can work out the length of that, if we need any spaces, obviously we need a stem. More Thompson. This apparently is used, but I'll be honest with you, it looks brand new. So this is a 120, which back in the day was relatively short, not like the things you use these days. The whole geometry of the bike is completely different, so there's no comparison. Take this out for now, we don't need that. I'm hoping this is going to be long enough, this fork. I've not actually measured it, but oh, it's perfect. Right, one space in there, we're not going to need to cut that. Tell you what, it's already looking fantastic. Right, that's a little bit too big, I'll get a smaller one. Right, so I put a small spacer in there. I've got a carbon spacer, but I think, to be honest, it's going to look better with just aluminium in there. Right, that should work. It might need just a very, very thin one now if I can find one. There you go, there's a smaller one here. Genuine Chris King as well, obviously. So that's going to fit just fine. So I'll take all this out, grease the bearings as you would normally. Get the clamp back in there, tighten that down. Same as any other bike, get some grease in this just to prevent things seizing up. The amount of miles this bike's going to do, I don't think that's very likely, but let's get it right. Again, obviously you're compromising on the quality of this bearing being fake and whatnot, but again, for the amount of miles this bike is going to do, it's going to go absolutely just fine. So again, you're looking for about 2 to 3 millimeters here. So I'm going to put some grease on this high quality fake bolt. So that feels pretty good there. Nice. Clean that up. Right, that's already looking absolutely fantastic. At least to me it does. I don't know about you guys. Right, I'll align that later, but let's get it torqued up just for now. But it looks pretty close from where I can see. Nice and smooth, no flat spots there. I need a handlebar next. I've got a choice. Right, bars, I've got a choice. I originally bought this, which is a nice lightweight Control Tech one, 140 grams. A little bit too much corrosion on it for my liking, and when you fit it in this stem, it's covering up a bit too much of the logo, so this costs far too much money. I don't think I'm going to use it, so I'm going to resell this one. So I came up with a plan B. Titanium. No brainer really when you think about it. I should have ordered some tie bolts for this stem, shouldn't I? So this will go in here, and then it's just shimmed in here. So this bar is, place your bets, 560 millimeters. And that's what we used to ride back in the day. 22 inches we chopped them down to, which is what, pretty much this exactly there, 22, yeah. Right. I'll leave it as it is, we won't chop it any further. Let's get this tightened up. It just looks ridiculous compared to today's modern stuff, I know it does, but it's going to work so well. This titanium bar is actually a little bit heavier than that aluminium one I showed you. About 10-15 grams, but we can live with that. Right, so the basics. We can steer it now. You know, we need some components, wheels, etc, etc. Nothing's internally routed, so obviously this should be a very, very straightforward build. We've got a fair few bits left to go yet. Let's continue. I'm not going to lie, these cost me a small fortune, but they are in a fantastic condition, and they came with a full set of genuine XTR cables and brake cables. Absolutely immaculate. But you pay a huge premium for a mint condition M952 XTR nowadays. Yeah, these were quite expensive, guys, but they're worth it. These are the best units, in my opinion, Shimano have ever made. That's a strong statement, I know, but from back in the day, you ain't getting any better than these guys. These work flawlessly, and they look absolutely awesome. Right, let's get these on. These are Shimano's fully coated cables, so I'm not changing those. These are very nice as well. All right, I waited a long time for this, I'm not going to lie. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. God, they look so good, honestly. Right, we need some grips, and I've been to AliExpress for them. So these are from AliExpress. These are Pro Palm, and you'll see, for those who know, they're an extremely similar version of something else from Grab-On. I think you can still actually buy them, but they're all classic grip. And these things don't weigh much at all, obviously just being foam. So that was the idea behind these. Actually really good grips. Added bonus, they don't weigh anything. I think I'll just use lacquer. I was going to try and compressed air, but I just can't get anything to start going. I should just go on now and then stick. Right, so that'll be pretty good where it is. Let's get the other one on. And we can get these buttoned up there. Right, the end caps are a terrible fit on this handlebar, so I'll have to use something different. They're not going to stay in there. Problem is this handlebar is so thin that nothing's really staying in there, so I might have to use some screw-out extender ones. So I'll leave that for now. I'll come back to that in a minute. So I'll get these tightened up now. They look good. They work absolutely incredibly well. Such a nice action on them. If you never use these guys, you'd be absolutely amazed at just how perfect they were. It gets better, guys, don't worry. Can you believe it? It gets even better than these. I've spent a lot of money on this bike, I'm not going to lie. I thought, I sod it. Now or never. Treat myself. Like I say, I do actually intend to use it, believe it or not. So the $1,000,000 question all you retro guys have been asking yourself since I started this is what's going in here. Let me show you. This definitely cost even more than the levers, but wow. This is pretty much immaculate. Look at that. That is absolutely phenomenal. Yes, you could have got Cook's top line graft and anything of the 90s CNC era, but wow, most of them are snapped in half by now, guys. They just don't last. This thing is just incredible. It's pretty much brand new, other than some very light wear on this inner chainring. Apart from that, it's literally immaculate. Look, it's incredible. But yeah, it cost a small fortune. So they made two versions of this, one with a 4-arm spider, one with a 5-arm spider. This is the 5-arm, which means you can get normal chain rings. The 4-arm one, you're very restricted to chain rings nowadays. You'll find some old ones that are available, but you can fit pretty much anything to this now. But these are pretty much brand new. Look at it, the condition is just incredible. This bike is going to look, oh my god. But to fit that, you need to use the Shimano bottom bracket. It's an Octalink design, V1 Octalink. You can't use anything else on this. I'm not sure, I can't remember which of any of this is titanium or not, I'm not sure. Anybody else knows it's a 952. So we've got two spaces on here, it comes with two 2.5mm spaces. I'm just going to make this one silver before we put it in. Then we'll get it fitted and get them fantastic looking cranks on and continue from there. I'll just whip this off. 30 seconds on the wire wheel and it's silver, on the bit that you'll see is silver. So we need two of these. Threads are all in really good shape and fairly clean. Let's get some grease in here. So it's a left hand thread, no different to any other bottom bracket. Well, unless it's Italian or press fit, then it's different. You know what I mean. I think I've got the right tool for this as well. That's an added bonus. Park Tool BBT32, that appears to fit. That's tight. Bottom bracket is used, but it does feel good. We'll soon find out when we get some cranks on, but it feels nice there. So fingers crossed it'll be okay. So that's a small fortune in itself. Right, these Octalinks, a lot of people say you want to take this bolt out first, make sure it lines up properly, but I think it'll be okay. Just be sensible. If you find it not going on right, stop. Feels like it's going to just go straight on there. I'm not convinced these are seated in yet, so I'm going to take this cap out and just have a look. You just unscrew this basically. So self-extracting crank basically, this one. Yes, I've got the tool for it, but it's not tight yet. So I'll take this bolt out and make sure it is actually seated properly, because it didn't seem to want to go very far. No, I don't think it was. Well, it's definitely in its splines. Yeah, that's definitely home. I'll do the same on the other side, just to be on the safe side. Alright, that's definitely on as well. Good. So that's the Octalink, the splines are now engaged, so I can put the bolt in properly now. So these are self-extracting bolts against that other cap that I pulled out first of all. So this bottom bracket that was supplied is the correct one for the 952, but I've got massive clearance here for the chain rings as well. And being as there's a little bit of play in there, was a used unit at the end of the day, I might pick up a Dura-Ace one, which you can get for slightly more sensible costs, and it'll be brand new, I think. No play in it, but it's about 3mm shorter, but I've got all the room in the world here to lose 1.5mm on either side, I think. So I might do that. And again, on the other side, there's so much room. Probably the widest Q factor in the world, this is. Tiny bit of play in there. It's not the end of the world, but it's not ideal, so I'll look into changing that. I'm going to put this in now. I'm going to put a bit of blue Loctite on this. Doesn't really need to come out. It's this chainring tool, it's got the wider prongs. Chainring that end, crank cap this end, just nip that in. There's them on and looking pretty spectacular. I'm going to put the front derailleur on now to see how that's going to sit. Like I say, I'm very tempted to change this bottom bracket to a slightly shorter one, with no play in it as well. It spins well, but... So front derailleur, again, XTR M952. Let's see how well this sits on here. This is a very fancy derailleur. I'll show you when it's hooked up and running, you'll see. This derailleur has linkages in it. There's one here and there's one here. So the whole bottom of this just swings at the same time. It's a crazy mechanism. And that's gonna be too low there. You see the way this works, the whole thing just pivots like this. So it's a bit more difficult to set the height. That's obviously too low now. It's fouling on this chainring, so I need to go up a bit. If you pull it out now, once it follows that arc, it sits pretty much where it needs to be. I think it needs to go down maybe another 0.5 millimetre. See, that looks way too high there as it is. When it follows this arc, it basically pulls itself down into this position here. So you'll see, it's hard to get the right camera angle, but from where I'm standing, that looks like it all should work pretty well. We'll get a cable in there later and try that. That should be pretty good there. So welcome back, next day. XTR rear derailleur obviously going on as well. However, this is a short cage derailleur. They did this in two versions, an SGS and a GS. This is a short cage version. And the cassette I'm fitting to this bike, I might struggle with this. I'm going to find out when we get all that back together. However, the only real issue is going to be going if I use big. And I'd like to think I'm clever enough not to use a bike in big. I tell everybody else not to. That's the only risk. So we'll see how that goes. You can get a link that will drop this down and increase the capacity, but I absolutely don't want to fit that. It's going to look ridiculous. The whole reason I bought a short cage is because it looks so good when it's fitted. So we'll fit this, then we'll get the wheels in, etc. later and see how the gears work. Another issue with this derailleur, well, it's not really an issue, it's over the years someone's upgraded this to aftermarket jockey wheels. These are tax jockey wheels, they're actually really nice, got seal bearings. However, on the G pulley, there is no float on this at all. There's normally float side to side, there's absolutely nothing there. So it's not going to index particularly well like that. So unsurprisingly, Shimano don't sell jockey wheels for this derailleur anymore. They do some that they list as a compatible fitment, but they don't look the same as what the old ones do. I didn't really want to get them, so I had a bit of a plan B. I'm not sure it's going to work yet, but this is it. I picked up an XT derailleur from the same year. This is a Mega 9, and this has got really good condition jockey wheels in it with sealed bearings and a ceramic G pulley here. So I hope they're just going to drop into the XTR and do what they want to do. And if you look at this G pulley here, there's the float that you need to get the indexing to work properly. So without that, if you aftermarket jockey wheels, if you don't have the float, I'm telling you now, you're going to struggle to index your gears properly. It needs this. Right, so I'm going to whip these out, put them in the XTR, and we'll get it on the bike. And believe it or not, it was cheaper to buy this used derailleur than a set of jockey wheels, so kind of a no-brainer for me. So I could put the tax jockey wheels into this and then resell this derailleur, really. Not really of any use to me, I'll be honest. Actually in reasonable condition, but yeah, I think that's what I'll do actually, put them in there. So there's nothing actually wrong with these, they're in really good condition, but without that float, it ain't going to work. Well, it might work-ish, but it's just not right. Right, moment of truth, will these fit? I'll just go for a dry test fit before putting it Loctite, make sure they're going to work. That'll fit, good. I just wanted that writing on it, it just, that was all that was about, was to get the proper writing on there, and to get the float obviously in the G pulley. So you can see I've got the float that I need. Just throw some Loctite on this and we can get it on. I might end up buying a long cage XTR derailleur for the price of a small car, but we'll see if we can get away with this. Bit of grease on that mounting bolt obviously. One thing I forgot to do, you probably noticed, is I forgot to grease the splines on the Octolink bottom bracket, so I will pull that off and just put some grease on there. I edited half of the video last night and noticed, oh, I'm not sure it'll work, but it looks good. So we've done the go bit, now we need the stop bit. Guess what's going on here? Hell yeah. The finest V-brakes ever manufactured. XTR parallel push V-brakes. Oh my god, they're gonna look fantastic. Bit of grease on here, a bit on the front as well on the fork. Busy week at the moment, I've got 14 bikes in as well, and filming this. They came with 4 sets of these, should I ever need them, but there's loads of life left on these. So the same as the road bikes, you've got a stop on this pad. Make sure you get them the right way around, otherwise the pad's going to pull out. That one on there. These come with very specific bolts. You can't use anything else. I've already put some Loctite in the hole. So these are parallel push V-brakes, and I'll show you what that means just now. So the clue's in the name. Basically parallel push means that these pads stay parallel. When you're pushing in a normal V-brake, these would arc underneath the rim basically, so they're a big upgrade in that respect. They can introduce play in here and end up squeaking a bit. We'll see how we go. I think there's a screw on these actually where you can take up any play underneath here on the 952s. The 950s didn't have that, I believe, but they did do a shim kit where you could put shims in here and take out any slack. But good luck finding one of them for sale. Alright, that's on. Get the front one on. There's only one hole on these. Again, just a drop of Loctite. That's them on. Parallel pushing. Good stuff. Right, let's have a look at some pedals. Story behind these as well. These are Onza HO pedals. Basically, it's a clipless pedal without springs, really. So these are titanium axle version, so they're pretty much the lightest you'll get. Like I say, there's no springs here. The spring is this elastomer here. So it's basically a rubber and you force against there. Very nice pedals. I used these a hell of a lot back in the day, and I did really enjoy them. And they agreed with them on my knees, which is an important bit. So with those, I've got some spare elastomers, because these are pretty much unobtainable now. So these are different strengths of spring. So you just unscrew them, clip them in basically. So that gives you more or less resistance to unclip. So I bought another set of pedals to get these bits, the cleats, because these don't exist. So I bought a really poor condition set of pedals, chrome alloy axle. I've actually chucked them in the bin, they're that bad. However, they came with 3 sets of cleats, which is the essential bit, because the titanium ones had no cleats, which I knew about. So I have everything now. I have cleats, I have spare elastomers and titanium pedals. So that's great. So these can go on the bike now. Potentially I could paint these a little bit, but to be honest, they're just going to get knackered within 10 minutes. Bit of grease on these, again titanium axle. They don't weigh much, that's for sure. I'm getting fitted to the XTR cranks. Might change these later. Need to get my shoes and see how they feel. I can't remember. It's been a long time. The receipt here from when these were purchased in 1995. £79. There you go. Screw them in. Again, I've got grease on here. I know you'll say you should use tie prep, etc. But honestly, for me, I think it's going to be perfectly okay. It's not like I can't maintain my own bicycle. So if they need checking every now and again, I'll check them every now and again. Don't worry. I've actually bought this stuff. Allegedly, this is the best thing you can use for galvanic corrosion protection. I think it's a marine product actually, but allegedly this is the best you can use. I've not tried it yet. I'm going to save it for another video. But in theory, this would be a go-to sort of anti-seize, really. We shall see. I'm getting hungry. If you can hear my stomach rumbling on my microphone, sorry. Lunchtime. No Allen keys on these. Good old-fashioned pedal flats. That's in. Don't scratch your cranks. And that's in as well. Right. We have pedals. Yeah, there's too much play in this bottom bracket for my liking. I was having a look last night at Dura Ace units, and I think that's going to have to be the one. They're about £120 for a good condition one now. Hey, can't have this. Too much play there. Anyway, let's leave that for now. I'm going to look at wheels, and then we're going to cable it up. So the big question I guess you're all asking is, what wheels are we using? I've had these quite a long time, I don't know, 20 odd years, 30 years maybe, I don't know. But they're still very, very nice wheels. So we're using these DT Hoogie? Never have pronounced that one. So the original DT ratchet, basically. Oh, these things are loud. And on these, we've got Mavic Sunset 217 rims. Classic rim from back in the day. Anodized in different colours. As the wheel rotates, you'll see that when it's on the bike. Super, super nice wheels these are. They don't weigh much, and they sound fantastic. All bearings are good. They've been serviced quite a few times in the past. Let's get these on. Got some new tyres, got some tubes. Obviously, I've got a cassette. And a matching front wheel, obviously. I say matching, but the stickers are actually slightly different, but they are both 217 Sunsets. So cassette wise, I'm using an XT cassette. XTR cassettes are just outrageous. 770, I think it's an 1132. So XTR, these top 3, I think, are titanium sprockets. This is not. So you would obviously save a bit of weight with an XTR cassette. But I refuse to pay the prices on that one, I'm sorry. Just outrageous. The retro market, well, it used to be very, very strong, especially around COVID times, but I think it's pretty much calmed down a bit now. But some stuff like this 952 is, well, I think it'll just hold its price forever. You can see some remains of copper grease on this, if that's what you're looking at. Get the lock ring on. Not a bad cassette, don't get me wrong. I might save 20 grams with an XTR one. Okay. So one thing I'm still waiting for from America again is some titanium skewers, Allen key skewers basically, so they're still in the post. They might be here tomorrow actually, so hopefully I can still stick them in the video. But in the meantime, I'll just use some standard quick releases just to get them in the bike, swap them over when they get here. That'll be another 50-60 grams saved, so well worth it. Right, tyres. I've got 4 reissue Smoke and Darts. These are basically a classic tyre from the 90's, surprisingly. Been reissued by Panracer. fantastic tyre, and well, they look so good. I do already have a set of these, but the condition is not quite as good as I remembered it, so I bought some new ones. Actually pretty decent price, and these are going to look absolutely awesome. Yeah, classic tyre combo from back in the day. 2.1 these are, designed for inner tubes obviously. This is predates tubeless. So inner tube wise, I've gone for TPUs actually from AliExpress. These are MottGov. So if you see my TPU videos, I was pretty impressed with MottGov, and they came in the right size, that's why I got them. So these will save you well over 100 grams per wheel on inner tube weight, and rotating weight is the best area to save weight, so that's why I've gone for these. I used to use Airborne latex tubes back in the day, but I'm sure you can still get them, to be honest, but these are cheap and cheerful, and I've got 4, so they'll go in your backpack and don't weigh anything at all. So they will go on with the new tyres onto these wheels. So I'll just get all these fitted, not very exciting to watch. Get these tubes in. This is the back tyre, this is the front tyre, and these are the skewers. Well, they weigh a ton, that I'll be using temporarily. I think the other ones are coming tomorrow, hopefully. Right, I'll just bang these on for you. It's definitely an inner tube, it's not a warning triangle. Okay. You know it's a good time when it's got little bits of clear stuff on it, don't you? There's one done. Well, these are loud. And there's the front. This don't weigh much, I'll tell you. It's a super light wheel. Well, alright. Quick release and we can get these in. Oh, wow. Alright, there's one. And there's the business end going in. Just give you a taster. Alright, this is looking absolutely fantastic, but now we need some cables. Get the brakes hooked up, get these gears hooked up, and I'll show you how good XTR really is. It's fantastic stuff. Just a quick pause to say a massive thanks to Sport and Leisure for sponsoring today's video. So there's nothing worse than being right in the middle of a job, only for everything to come to a grinding halt because a part you order from somewhere said it was in stock. It wasn't in stock. Quite often the case, it's not even in the same country. Trust me, I've been there a month. I've waited from stuff from Spain that was a UK website. Thanks. So that's exactly why I use Sport and Leisure. They're based right here in the UK. Their stock levels are 100% live. It says it's on the shelf. It really is on the shelf, ready to go. If you get your order in before 3 PM, it's dispatched the very same day with free delivery on all UK orders. Plus next day delivery, only £2.50, which is brilliant when you just need to crack on with the job. They've also updated the channel discount scheme for you. If you head over to sportandleisure.com/BCR or scan this QR code on the screen right now, it'll generate a 10% discount at checkout off your first order. If you're buying parts anyway, it's an easy way to save a bit of cash. So the link's down below in the description, and thanks again to Sport and Leisure for continuing to support the channel. Let's carry on with this. So cable wise, like I say, it's got full new XTR cables, housings, everything is new. Just got to cut the housing for the shifters to length to the top tube and then go backwards really. So this outside one will be the rear derailleur. And we need to leave a little bit of slack so I can turn the bars without changing gears automatically. So something around about there will be pretty good. The other side should be exactly the same. Very expensive cable cut. Transfer these caps over. The first 2 bits, get these on the bike. Right, there's the first one. I'll get some protective tape or something here because I don't want to scratch my tip. Oh, that's right, you can't. Alright, get the front derailleur, and I'm going to put this one in the middle on the underside of here. I'm hoping that bit I've cut off is going to be long enough for that. Easily. Look at that. And it will go to, by the time you put end caps on it, don't forget, I think it'll be around about there. And the last bit to the rear mech. So you'll do the front mech first. So the front mech is another one here. It's got to go down to this bit here, so it'll be very similar. That's that one done. So they always give you this one that's pretty much cut to what they think is the right length. It might not be far off at all, actually. Yeah, I think I'll live with that for now. Until I set this chain and see where this derailleur wants to sit, I'll leave it at that for now. That's not going to be far off at all. Just when we find out, when we get the chain on this derailleur, see where that sits. It might change the angle of this slightly, but I think that's going to be okay actually. Brake cables, again, it's for a full set of XTR supplied with those shifters, housings, everything. So obviously this needs to go into here and then drop down to the V-brake there. I just need to find a noodle. I don't have a genuine Shimano XTR one, sorry. I've got hundreds of other ones though. I just measured that up. Ideally I would have wanted a 135 on this, but I don't have a single one in the entire workshop, unbelievably. It's getting a 90. That's annoying. So that one sits down there quite nicely. Get this rear one to the top tube. Goes there, and that goes up to top tube. Nice. Yeah, I think it's just a tiny bit long on this front one. One last bit just down here to this noodle here. Looking good as well. Right, I'm going to set these brake pads roughly because they're nowhere near the rim at the moment, and then we can put the cables in. That'll be pretty good there. You can fine tune them later if need be, but that'll be close enough for now. Same on the front. Is that clean? I don't need gloves. I'm not sure when you'll be watching this, but I've got my first live stream coming up this Saturday. I don't know what's going to happen with that, I don't know. I've never done one before. I thought I'd give it a go though. Right, that's that one. If you turn these cables through now, you'll see there is enough slack there. We need to go through 90 degrees. Pulling it tight, but there's still enough slack there. You're not putting the brake on or anything daft. So we're in the UK, so this is my front brake. So you can adjust the level of sort of power modulation on this one. Through this noodle, a bit of grease. Right, and that'll go into there. Just add a little bit of tension on there for now. Squeeze that on. Just nip that up gently for now, just see how it feels. I'm going to crush my new cable. That feels really good actually. So I can tighten that up. Needs balancing, but that lever feels fantastic. It really does. Just going to back this spring tension out because there's too much on this side. Not enough on this side. That's looking good. Trim this cable now. And this one you can tuck it in behind this spring, so unhook this spring. Put that through there. Pull that back out. Hook the spring back in. And that keeps it all super clean and tidy now, out of the way. Ooh, nice. Same on the back. Good squeeze on the cable just to make sure everything's seated in. It is now, just to tighten that up a bit more now. And about there is going to work. Again, just balance this one. Too much on this side, or not enough on the other side, or a combination of both. Obviously make sure you put your end cap on there as well. And again, I'm just going to pop this spring out. Cable behind, hold the cable, pop that in there, lock it in, and that's out of the way. Very nice. Well, I'm going to put a chain on now. I'm just going to set these limit screws first though. That one looks pretty good where it already is. That one's not. Screw this low stop in. That's pretty good there. Just pulling that over and I can see this directly in line here. So that'll be fine. I've already recorded the chain bit first, but my battery ran out, which corrupts the file. It takes me a week to recover, so I'm just going to film it again. So I'm using a KMC chain on this one actually. It's a silver chain. I could have got an XTR one, but they're £70–80 and I changed the chain in my opinion. I have already cut this to length. So the issue is, because we're using a short gauge derailleur, this capacity is too much for that derailleur. I know it is, and it won't go into big. It's extremely unlikely it's going to go into big, but we'll try it. I'm pretty confident I can safely say I will never ever be in that gear. I know how to use gears on bikes, I'd like to think. Anyway, so I've already sized it. What I've done basically, I've gone small, and just set it so it's just about skimming this jockey wheel here. So it's fraction on the long side, but again, small is a gear I won't be in. So I'd rather have it slightly on the long side and rubbing on there and potentially handle that. So we'll put it back on, see what it looks like. Flipping massive wasp in the workshop. Hate the things. I was going to wax this chain, and I may still do that. But for this video at the moment, I'm just getting it on and getting it all set up. I may revisit in another video, doing a bit of chain waxing. Alright, so that's on. Like I say, it's just about skimming this lower jockey wheel here. We've still got B tension we could potentially tweak to get it in with, but we'll see how it goes. Dreadful gear to be in anyway, as I say, so don't do that. So I'll connect this up on the front derailleur. We can go to big and see what explodes. It might be fine. Shouldn't be fine, but it might be fine. I'm definitely pushing my luck. You'll notice no replaceable dropout. Most titanium frames don't have. I mean, good luck bending that. So I'm going to go for a shift, get it up here, and see how well this limit is on the front derailleur then. First gear change on this bike. Why not? That was me. Right, oh, I basically I want to set a limit on this derailleur here. It's not far off as it is actually. Just need a tiny tweak in. Take the tension off it when you do that, it's easier. That's good. Right, I'll connect this cable up next. That just goes behind this silver plate here. This silver plate is broken on this derailleur. There's a little tab broken off it. I think it'll be okay. Just stops it spinning when you're tightening it, basically. That's all it's there for. Well, let's try that with this shift. Ooh, oh, look at that. Straight out of the box. Up to the big. We are in big. It's made it just. That's in big. It's got about 1 millimetre of spare slack, so it will actually do it. So never ever put it in that gear, guys. Right, get it out of there. But we know it will do it if I was stupid enough one day. It wouldn't be very good, but it would almost get there. Oh, this front derailleur is amazing. Straight down there, straight up there, straight up there. Need a bit of tweaking at the back still, don't worry. Right, I'm happy with that capacity. It's absolutely not ideal, but it will do it without exploding the derailleur, and that was the important bit. So do as I say, not as I do, yeah? Cut this off now. I can hand on heart say I will never ever be in big on this bike, so don't worry. If I am and I explode it, I'll be buying a new derailleur, don't worry. Right, let's see if we can get this rear to work a bit nicer. It's not perfect at the moment. So one click. Happy. Too much tension because it won't go down there, you see. What I haven't done yet is settled all these housings in yet, so I'm just going to press this gear lever out without pedalling. Let's do that, and all this is going to do is set up all these housings into where they should be. Going to push it pretty hard and then release it, and that'll probably create just enough slack now to drop back down to there. Up one and then back down. See what I mean? You don't need to touch that, you just need to settle the housings in. Oh, that's pretty good now. Very good. So a bit of finessing, and then she's shifting up there lovely now. Still got to lubricate this chain. I'll say I might take it off and wax it at some point, but not in this video. Rear gear's done, front gear's actually working really nicely as well. And we'll just about do a big, but whoa, it's tight. I'll just go through these fronts, down to the little ring, up to the middle ring, up to the big ring there. You can see that arc there. So that's sitting round about, it's probably a little bit on the high side to be honest, about 4 millimetres there. I could drop it down a smidge. It's actually shifting really nicely there. Very nice. Skewers have just turned up, a whole 49 grams of them, so I'll get these fitted now and see how much more I've saved. Alright, get them in, 2-second job this. I shouldn't even need to take the wheel out to be honest, just rest it on your knee. Take this out. I think even the springs are titanium as well on these, so that's on. The wheel's resting on there anyway, it's not going anywhere. And that's that one done. Big job. So the Thai ones were 49 grams, these old 120. Look at that, 70 grams. I mean, it all adds up, guys. It's quite a good saving actually. Still a bit missing. We need a saddle. So if you know your saddles, then you will know the Flight is the classic saddle from the 90s. It really is just iconic, extremely comfortable, surprisingly, and nice and lightweight with titanium rails on it. However, this one I've got is looking a bit tired, so I bought a new one. This is the Flight 1990, so it's basically their re-release version of the original Flight. Pretty much exactly the same. Titanium rails again. Very slight different profile on the rail. For the sake of this, it's going to look pretty damn incredible. Let's get this on. Right, my least favourite job, battling seat posts. I hate putting these on. I'd rather fit cush cores than put saddles on. Actually, it's pretty much on. That wasn't too bad actually. It's not a million miles off where it needs to be. Maybe go back a fraction. There's no layback on the seat post there. And about there. Alright, it's way too high and it's not straight, so let me just sort that out. I'm not sure I fit this bike, I'll be honest with you. It might be a tiny bit big. It's an 18, which is what the size I used to use. I think potentially I should have bought a 16 all those years ago. Never mind, we'll manage. Just going to drop the angle of these down because they're a little bit too high for me. And about there. Right, the wasp has gone. We're finally done, I think. I've still got to find some end plugs for this handlebar. I'm just going to give it a very quick shake down there. Hey, move. And make sure nothing falls off. But I think it's almost done. Looking absolutely superb. Well, quick spin. I'll be back in a second. It works. Well, these brakes, oh my god. They're easily on par with the disc brake. Easily on par. Absolutely ferocious. Fantastic. Alright, a few final tweaks then. Alright, I'm going to put a bottle cage on here and I'm going to find some plugs for this handlebar. Not strictly time correct. How cool does this look? Neon yellow into my welded bottle cage buses, as you do. I think this bottle cage is way older than the bike actually, but it looks so nice. Do like a bit of neon. Right, this can come off finally. Nice. I may well end up with some bar ends on this at some point. Not these, some nicer ones, but I did use them a lot. I felt them quite useful to have two hand positions, one here and one here. So I may get some of these yet, I haven't decided. I will get something for this, so that's for sure. Well, this one seems to fit, so good. Done. So let's see if I hit my target. 22 pounds I was looking for. 10.16 kilos. Oh, 22.9, way over. I need to lose some weight from somewhere, not just here. It's not far off, that's pretty good for me. I'm quite happy with that. There's a few grams here and there I could shave off. Like I say, the seat post is about 6 foot too long, so you could save a little bit on there, but I don't think I'm going to go too crazy with it, I'll be honest with you. That's a pretty respectable weight for a front suspension mountain bike. But wow, it looks so good. Love it. But yeah, I don't know if you're a retro fan or not, but you've got to agree that looks absolutely stunning. And it works even better. Those brakes, wow, wow, wow. So powerful. I'm calling this done. Absolutely love this. It looks even better than I thought it was going to look, I'll be perfectly honest with you. Absolutely fantastic. What a machine. Like I say, I've been on a quick test spin around the block, and these brakes, I'm not kidding you, these are on par with a decent set of 4-pot brakes. And I've seen some decent brakes, but these are just incredible. Getting to the wet and muddy, this might beat it then, but wow, these are just sensational brakes, honestly. Gears, awesome, everything's just fantastic, and it looks amazing. So if you wanted a top-of-the-range mountain bike 25 years ago, this is what you'd have been ordering. This is top dollar. Really is honestly about as good as they got. Yes, you can get some sort of trick American CNC parts, cranks, brakes, etc., but they look fantastic, and I've had it all. Believe me, I've had it all, but they don't work very well, honestly. Poles components, stuff like that, absolutely phenomenal. Worth more than this bike as well, probably, but performance-wise, yeah. But they do look absolutely awesome. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it. I've been looking forward to this for so long, and I'm absolutely over the moon with the outcome of it. So if you did enjoy that content and you want to see something similar, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, hype, all that great stuff. It's not just retro stuff. Check out my other videos. You'll see everything under the sun here, from 100-year-old bikes up to top of the range modern racing bikes, everything in between. So what's the plans for this? I'm off to Scotland in June for a holiday. I used to live there on the side of a mountain. I'm going to take this back up there and try and find some of the old trails I used to ride on these behind me. Hopefully I can take this up there, get a GoPro on and do a bit of video in there as well. So that'll be coming hopefully soon as well. Well, not soon, but later on in the year. So that's the plan. It will get ridden, it will get muddy. Hopefully it won't break. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.